My name is Shelli Myles, and I have three adopted children from Ukraine. This is my mother, Nina Ellis. My sister has four adopted, one from Ukraine and three domestic. So when I started adopting, when I did my first training, we had to do like a parent class. And so we did the parent class, and it taught on attachment. It gave us a list of what to look for. They didn't really tell you like the long-term effects if they didn't have attached. They just told you really basically the signs of attachment issues. So I knew definitely that my youngest had attachment disorder. My oldest didn't really show that as much, but I felt very undereducated. Even when I went through counseling, because I finished my master's after I adopted, we hit on RAD for maybe 1/4 of a chapter. That was it. I mean, there was no education on what exactly it was. And honestly, until I started working with the Institute and a friend of mine that was here at the Institute, I didn't fully understand it. I knew that my daughter was very manipulative, and I know that she caused a ton of issues in our family, and a lot of division between siblings and even my parents. I mean, there was times that, my dad would be like, well, you should, she hasn't ate for 4 days, Shelli, she's starving. And I'm like, she's 15 and there's a refrigerator full of food. So as I learned and as I had to separate myself from her because it was so painful, I took it really personal for a long time because I had no understanding of what it was and why she was so mean to me versus the rest of the family. And so as I understood more, I would talk to my mom about it, probably more than anybody else in the family. My ex would just say she has mommy issues. It doesn't matter what you do, she's going to be angry at you. And for a while I thought that, but now I know that it's much deeper than, she has issues with her mom, of course, but it's much deeper. I just wasn't educated in it. I really didn't have any clue. And so I would argue sometimes with my parents, my dad especially, because she had him manipulated and controlled. And in the beginning, he was like, it was all about grandpa. And so he really fell into that and did whatever she wanted. Like she had him running her everywhere and doing everything for her. And no gratitude and complete attitude all the time and entitlement, attitude always still.
She still has some of that.
But it was hard because I remember just Dad and I fighting about it because I'd just be like, how can she's playing games and she's constantly playing games. And my dad's like, well, she came from a rough background and she had a bad childhood and we need to love her and show her more love. And
what would you say to other grandmothers as far as ways to support their children raising kids with RAD?
Well, you always have to, if they say something about the parent, you definitely have to back up the parent if they have that situation, or if it's one of my normal grandchildren that are just mad at their parents about something. I mean, your normal thing is you have to back up the parents, even if you don't agree with them always. So I think you have to stand behind them, but you still have to love that child, and you have to make them sure, that you love them, you're listening to them, and I usually talk to them and encourage them to go back and talk with their parents. That's what I do. But sometimes that works, sometimes that doesn't. As you can tell with those older ones, it didn't always work.
What would you say, Shelli?
I would say the same, like parents need to support the child because if they're so manipulative and so conniving that it's so easy for grandparents to be blinded by what they're doing, and they see the sweet side, they don't see the other side. And so unless you're the primary caregiver and the child can be great with other people, it's just, and if you don't have that support, it causes issues in the family with everybody involved. I mean, we've definitely had our ups and downs with Alina and causing conflict within the family. And so if we don't stick together in the unit, I think they can take everybody down. And so you have to bind together even if you don't understand. And read and be more educated on what the child's doing to cause these issues.
And we need to
Division.
communicate as a parent to a child. I mean, as a grandparent to a child or a parent. Our communication has to be good too, so that we sometimes know a little bit of what's going on before the child even comes to us. But if we don't, we still have to take, the high road and stand behind a parent. And I mean, sometimes it sounds pretty bad what they have to tell you, but knowing your child, that's probably not true. And so you have to, because, everybody, when they tell you a story that they want your sympathy, is going to make it sound like whoever did something to them did the worst thing they could have done. And so you have to kind of take that into consideration and try to just let them talk a while. Sometimes when they talk a while, their stories even change the more they talk.
And I think educating your parents, as an adopted mother, they don't know. They're not, and if you're not in the field, there isn't a lot of education out there for people that are adopting. And so educating yourself first so that you can explain more to your family is very beneficial. That it kind of puts things in perspective more. You can understand what's going on and why, versus letting them completely tear everything up.
It sounds like they need to do a whole lot more education when you're adopting and put more emphasis on it, because you hear all these stories of people adopting and then not wanting the child anymore. So especially if it's an older child, you definitely need to make them understand that that's a real possibility of what's going to happen.
There's definitely lack of education.
Yeah.
We all know that.
Absolutely. That's why we're doing this. So, well, thank you to both of you. That's really helpful to lots of families to hear your story and to hear your journey and what you've learned. So, thanks.
Fun journey.
It's not always easy.